Welcome back to Modern Mystic Messages. I am Teresa at Family, and I thank you again for clicking on the video. And if you saw part one, for continuing on to hear part two. Um, I think what I'm getting ready to do as well, because I'm starting to get a little emotional and I can't help it, it's just the way it's going to have to roll. I am, up until this point, well, I hadn't said it on camera before or anywhere, but I do understand now, and I've understood for some time, but apparently, and I understood my initiation was coming as well. I think this is part of it. I am an Anunnaki Oracle Priestess. I'm being initiated as such at this point in time. And again, I didn't ever think that I was going to necessarily say that, but truthfully, every priest or priestess on this planet is an Anunnaki priest or priestess of some sort. My clairaudience really started kicking in 2020. It's been confirmed in so many ways by so many people, not just locally and known to me who love me, but strangers around the planet now, that I'm no longer willing to feel bad about saying that. So, what I decided to do, like I said, to help me with my spectrum needs. If I got intense and started getting too emotional, I would work with my tarot cards because I want to pull a reading while I'm in this energy as well and while I get this message out. So, family, I'm going to put the camera down to the table and continue to talk, and hopefully, I don't get too long winded. I'll try to check the time from time to time to see where we go with that. Now, the cards that I currently have on the table, I will quickly get into because as I was pre-shuffling and cleansing the cards with smoke, I I pay attention to everything, and there were I'm about to set my uh, bracelet on fire. I As I was doing that and doing the pre-shuffle, there were some cards that kind of stuck to their containers or stayed on the table or shot out of the deck, even though I wasn't trying to shuffle per se. So I took them, and I'm not didn't want to take all of them because that turns into a whole mini reading of its own, and I wasn't trying to go there. We are pulling seven cards from each of 14 decks, so it's kind of a 777 message because that's what came to me in the idea to pull as I was telling you all this, just to see what kind of messages we get currently from the other side of the veil. But what came out here, and this is, I'm pretty sure this may be for the collective as well, but it was highly personal for me. Trust, divine time, greater forces at play, release control. All is working out for the highest good. That was here. Then the second card that came out was autumn, timing card, like right now, starting over, soul growth, clearing, new intentions. And like I said, I've known I was coming up into a rebirth cycle as death transfer. I got a group on WhatsApp called transfer, I think transformation, rebirth, ascension. Feel free to join. We're going to get into some stuff soon. But like I said, today is an emergency SOS and responding to an SOS. So we'll talk about that later. But then this card that came out was present, attracting, gratitude, abundance, proactively, tranquility, success, along with the high priestess, the world in reverse, the tower in reverse, and earth school, life lessons, soul growth, study, higher learning. And here with the tower in reverse is interesting with this particular deck. The meanings that are on these cards: disaster averted, near miss, resisting change, stall, delaying the inevitable, along with delays with the world in reverse, seeking closure, delays, lack of completion, stagnation, disappointment, taking shortcuts. And that goes exactly to what I'm talking about and have been shown here over the past couple of days. So I thought that was interesting. We'll put them back in the deck as I shuffle through, but I'm just going to pull some cards here as we go, and I'm going to look at them in a completely separate reading. But family, when I was led to listen to the Lost Book of Enki the first time, I watched it with my fiance, and we were doing our instead of doing our distance movie day, we both wanted to hear it, so we watched it like in rapid fire over the course of like 2 days. And I heard a lot of it, and like I said, I was gobsmacked, but I didn't hear a lot at the time. I was trying to watch it like a movie, and some of the glitchy graphics in it took my mind off in spirals that caused me to miss some clues of what was happening. So I had to kind of rewind and go back. So I did that thoroughly over the past couple of days. And the interesting thing about that book, it does not contradict the Bible at all. At all, at all. If you read the Bible from the way religion teaches you to read it, you get part of the story. But if you step back, just peel back a half a degree and understand what you're actually reading are Anunnaki records, because they were record keepers like that, and started taking it, stop putting, we put a lot of mystical value, and there is a lot of mystical allegory in the scriptures, but some of that is just telling you exactly how it TI is, okay? Now, again, as the esoteric librarian, I'm going to shortcut, and I'm not going to go down as many of those rabbit holes because we're going to try to keep it kind of short. But when I sat down to listen to the Lost Book of Enki this time, I decided to give it the same kind of listen I would as if I were listening to the Bible. Give it, just allow my mind to give myself the possibility that it's just as inspired of God as what we call the scriptures. And in doing so, the first thing, ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4. One of the first things I noticed, and while I was listening instead of trying to watch so much, was there's a rhythm and flow from what we call the Bible and this book that even in the translation, oh my goodness, I'm about to burn the thing up. I forgot to blow out the incense. Sorry, y'all. Within that translation, the flow sounds the same. I remember in school when we heard about rhythms and stuff, iambic pentameter, syncope, alliteration, that kind of stuff. There's a flow to the ear of that, and it reminds me a lot of, like I said, listening to a reading of the Bible or listening to um, the Emerald Tablets of Thought. It's not quite as rhythmically. It's not rhythmic at all in that manner like the Emerald Tablets, but you can tell it was written around the same time with the same type of intention and flow, so that even in the translation to another language, it comes through. Bear with me 1 second here. 1, 2, that's our 7 there. Okay, perfect. So that said, when I started listening, one of the first things that it starts out with is for Enki explaining how and why Andupsa was taking these notes and making this message with this express knowledge and hope that the chosen ones would find the message in enough time to help. And he hid it. He needed to hide it because there were other forces at play on the planet that did not want us to get that help. Okay, so bear with me. Like I said, we're going to take the ride, but back to the Bible. In Genesis chapter 1, when it's talking about, look at here, first card out, Jesus descended, and yes, I know it, Yeshua. Thank you for confirming us in this reading. In Genesis chapter 1, when it talks about God making the heavens and the earth and the above and the below and the waters and all of that, eons of time passed in that first chapter. In chapter 2, okay, yes. In chapter 2, when it starts talking about the Lord God in the Bible roaming around talking with Adam and Eve, I'm getting chills. Y'all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not going to get into what the cards are right now. Like I said, it's a whole separate reading, but I wanted to pull in this flow, so pardon my burst of thought, but it's got to flow. In chapter 2, 100 years ago, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In fact, next year will be, I believe, 100 years ago or so. Rudolf Steiner mentioned that in the translations, it was likely that the Elohim that was mentioned, and they've no religion has known this for a long time. That's why I was angry with religion for a long time. Elohim in the Bible is not a singular translation. It refers to multiple. The Eloha would be one, but the Elohim that were mentioned there, Yes, Yahweh was one of the Elohim that was present in the Garden of Eden, but so was, I don't even remember who he would be represented by now. Marduk is the grandson, but so was the other that got accused of being Satan. That's another big point that was revelatory to me today. But the Lord gods of Genesis chapter 2 are Enlil and Enki, the Anunnaki brothers who came here to Earth and basically dared to play God by genetically modifying the hominids that they found when they were already here. All of the stuff that happened in Genesis chapter 1, yes, that is true. And the divine creator put a planet here and did the bioforming and the terraforming and all of that. But up until the beginning of Genesis, there was no sentient life on this planet. That much is true. But the God that put this planet here is not the God that created it. The Bible story is telling you the story of the gods of the Bible, Enlil and Enki. And if we understood it in the translations, it follows through and it's confirmed and backed up by what Enki says in the Lost Book. I'm going to stop this video here and continue on with part 3 in just a moment, family. I'll be right back and I love you. Namaste.